All right, people, welcome in Monday Fun Day. It is November the 25th. It's time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show powered by WagerTalk.com. I'm Joe Raineri, joined by Tony, Finn, Bryan Leonard, the Wager Talk duo. That's right, two legends in the game, guys, and more importantly, when it comes to the NBA, you want to profit this NBA season, these are two guys that you want to catch up on right now. We invite you guys to head over to WagerTalk.com. Definitely the place to start and check out both their pages as well as Twitter pages, guys, at Finn at Wager. Good Christ, again with that. At Finn at Wager Talk. And it seems so much easier. At B Leonard Sports, right? Doesn't get any easier than that. Damn you, Finn. But let's start with the weekend here, guys. First of all, overview. Tony, good weekend for you. How'd it go, man?
Good weekend for me. I had just nothing but, believe it or not, nothing but college football and NFL. 3-1 college, 2-1 NFL. I'll take it every weekend.
That's it. Brian, how was it for you, man?
A little bit better last night at San Francisco. I think just about everybody I talked to at San Francisco yesterday. Struggling college on Saturday, so it happens. But been on a little bit of a slump lately, but looking to get out of it. It's been so long since I've had a losing streak. It's been just a tremendous year. You knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, just got to work your way out of it. And, last night 1-0, so hopefully that'll preclude more winning.
That's it. A little plus next to that unit. That's all that matters there, guys. And over the weekend, it was some interesting matchups in the NBA, of course, highlighted by last night's Luka Doncic smackdown there of the boys over in Houston. I don't know what to tell you, guys. The kid is 20 years old. He's putting up numbers that we haven't seen since the teenage LeBron. And am I crazy here, though, or do they got something brewing here in Dallas that nobody wants to seem to talk about in the West? We know the West is loaded, but talk to me here, Tony. I mean, Dallas is a real team here. I don't know if I know it's early, but they all still healthy here. This team's got something working there with Rick Carlisle as the head coach.
Absolutely. Before we came on air, we talked a little bit about this, and both Joe and all three of us said there was no surprise. This is really what people talk about in Dallas, particularly. Can this young team or this young stud compete with Harden and his group? And we talked a little bit about this in Game Live last time I was on, and there's no doubt in my mind. I talked a little bit about what this kid's done at 20. What he's done from last year to this year, people aren't paying attention to them. They really don't pay attention to the underlying peripherals, the percentages. The things he has done they are LeBron-like. I don't want to use comparisons, Joe and my friend Brian, but when they drafted this kid, I flashed back, and I'm old, so you guys will remember this too. I flashed back to Dirk when he was a kid too. I remember watching him play at that age. And this kid is so far ahead of Dirk, it's silly. Yep. Hey, Dirk would throw up air balls, take shots that were running by. I don't know how much more to say. I can't really speak the words to give him his due. And I think you guys would agree. It's going to be fun to watch him play and grow.
It's so funny, too, Brian, when you look at the numbers, he joins Westbrook, Harden, and Jordan is the only player since 83-84 with at least 4 consecutive games of 30-plus points and 10-plus assists. Not to mention he's masking the fact that Porzingis sucks, or at least has come off to the – well, I mean, nobody's talking about that, but again, Porzingis has missed a year, so – but let us not mistake it. Once this team starts rolling, if this kid stays healthy, plus you get Porzingis back – this is a pretty interesting combination that I don't know that a lot of people included possibly in their futures in the West, but people better start talking about the Dallas Mavericks here, Bri.
Yeah, they definitely have to. And I don't watch a ton of sports. I do my work, and then I watch it casually. Mm-hmm. But I make an appointment. When he's playing a good team, I want to see him play. And it reminds me a lot, and we've talked about LeBron, and I'm a LeBron fan, been from Cleveland, so but he's one of those guys that when he plays a good team, I want to see what happens. And he has really impressed me this year. He's just got a great future, and everything I've heard from the kid, he's just a great young man. and it's something we can all root for. Is
Yep.
unfortunately, we saw with in the Browns Steelers game the other day that emotions get a hold of people. They make mistakes. They do things out of character. So far for him, it's like LeBron. LeBron, as much pressure has been on LeBron his entire career, and they can't find him doing anything bad except for maybe misspeaking once in a while. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And Doncic has been the same way.
Yep, and it's interesting, Kawhi, no load management last night either, guys. Kawhi Leonard, another 20-point game. Lou Williams, now you're talking about Paul George and Kawhi, now 3-0 since actually being together, and they just kind of dismantled New Orleans, 134-109. Another unsung hero of this team is Montrezl Harrell, and he's another guy I don't think that enough can be said about. They're going to get all the headlines, but this guy's doing all the work. 34 last night, 12 boards. Oh, yeah, off the bench. Like, off the bench. Like, are you serious with this, Tony Finn? I mean, the Clippers are just, when it comes to depth and it comes to production, they got two superstars. They got the sixth man of the year, and they got a bench that teams would die to have.
And I hate to step out like this. I don't hate to step out like this. I hate to step out like this so early. But in truth, guys, two different teams, but probably the two best teams call Staples home, in my opinion. And it may not, that championship for the West may not leave Staples.
Yeah. You're spot on, man.
The bench for LA, you look at it and you think, am I looking at a past All-Star roster, or what is going on? And as you just mentioned with the Clippers, these teams are both really good, albeit different,
Yep. Now, it's an interesting card we got here tonight, Brian, before we take a look at the market and what's going on. It wasn't a big card yesterday, but it's a pretty big card here tonight. And speaking of those L.A. teams, how about the Lakers? Anything on the card tonight? Did you look at this Lakers Spurs, who finally won a game? I don't know if you noticed there. They had to go to Madison. They had to take on the Knicks, so all is right once you have the Knicks on the schedule. What do you think of this Lakers game against? Has San Antonio found something, you think?
For myself, I actually bet San Antonio at 5. It just got hit a little while ago, and I was getting ready for the show, so I didn't get a chance to see what happened, if there was an injury that came out. But it was sitting there at 5, and now I'm seeing a couple of places offshore, some of the sharper shops at 4, 4.5. So something happened. Either they took a bet on San Antonio, or there may be an injury for the Lakers. But half-point move. Regardless, haven't had a chance to investigate it, basically. Yep. But I like the Spurs here. The Spurs have been playing lousy ball, and they got that game against the Knicks last time out, and now they're coming back home. First of a 3-game sample size, or first of a 3-game homestand. Third game in 4 nights for the Spurs. And they're playing the Lakers. We're a little bit more rested, but the Lakers are a team that seems to be doing just enough to get the victories. And here with the line, well, I got San Antonio at 5. I could easily see San Antonio coming in here and getting the spread cover, even if they don't get the win. The Lakers, as I mentioned, a team that's been getting the win, but they're not blowing people out on a regular basis. Last time out against Memphis, they only win by 1. Game before that against Oklahoma City, they win by 3. Game before that, Oklahoma City 5. So the Lakers are doing enough to win. And we've seen a lot of teams. I've talked about Philadelphia being that way in the past. Denver's been that way. Teams that just get to that point where, okay, time to turn on the switch, and they've been able to do that. So that's something you have to keep track of, especially in the fourth quarter if you're looking to play the in-game betting, knowing that these teams have come up and have been able to win these tight games in the past. You may be able to make some money on them as an underdog price.
Yeah, and Tony, doesn't look like much going on in the way of the total. Opened up 223. I'm seeing a bunch of 222.5s around there. Some interesting move on the money line there, as something's happening for the Lakers. I don't see any sort of injury report outside of Anthony Davis being hurt, but who are we kidding? He's always hurt. But nobody's been ruled out or anything along those lines. What do you think? Is it a rough schedule here for San Antonio to keep this close?
I think so. In my opinion, listen, this is a completely different animal for Coach Pop. He's never had a team that's younger than this one, and with that comes some things that he and his staff have to adjust to. Not only are they inconsistent, not only are they unpredictable, Jekyll and Hyde kind of a unit. They have lost to some bad teams, and they've competed with some good teams, which should be expected from this group. But their number against the spread has been atrocious this year, and against teams that I've followed, I've watched, I've played this. San Antonio played on them one time, and in a situation that was absolutely perfect for them, and they failed me.
Let's talk about a matchup in the East now. And once again, man, don't ever talk to a Toronto Raptor fan. They will tell you how screwed they get over. Nobody gives us any love. Nobody gives me any respect. Screw all yous. Kawhi this, Kawhi that. Burn the ring. But listen, the Raptors are home, and say what you want. I mean, Lowry's still about a week away with the thumb. Serge Ibaka, they said might be back, but they might hold him out here a couple of more days. Bottom line is they've had no problems winning games. Went on the road over the weekend there in Atlanta, went into halftime trailing, giving Atlanta the idea that they might actually be able to win a game. Ha! They came back and just smoked them in the second half. And yet they are, the Sixers are coming to Toronto, Bri, and opened up as a 1-point favorite, Toronto, but didn't last long. Looking at about 1.5, 2 points now. It's flipped. The 76ers seem to be getting all of the money here at this point. What do you think? Are we undervaluing Toronto at home?
Toronto's a team that's really surprised me coming out of the year. Obviously, Kawhi not there this season. And I think that shocked a lot of people coming out of the gate. They were playing very good ball, but if you go back and you look at their last 7 games or so, they've been one of those teams that's been able to win these coin flip games. They've actually been, if you take a look at the average lead in the game, they've been losing most of these games coming up. Even against a win against Atlanta last time out, they win by 3, but they were basically trailing by a point for the average of the game. So they've been very fortunate getting that in. And as I mentioned, the Sixers have been one of those that have been getting these nice fourth quarters coming in. But when you take a look at Toronto's schedule, it's been a little bit weak. They have played the Lakers, Clippers, and Dallas, but in Milwaukee. But they played a lot of weaker teams as of late. The Charlottes, Orlando's an average team, Atlanta. Philadelphia is a team right now that I think is playing better ball. They struggled out of the gate a little bit. You go back their last 4 games, all wins, and all of them have been dominant except for that game against Cleveland. They win that game by 5, against New York, that game they win against 5. But that was when New York was really playing good ball. They were on a good stretch right there. And New York is a team I'm looking to back right now because they are playing a lot better ball than what people expect. But I prefer the Sixers here. I think Toronto has played great, but from a talent standpoint, Philadelphia is much better, and I really surprised that Toronto actually opened up as the favorite here. But now Philadelphia 1.5, 2. I'd lay the 1.5 with Philadelphia.
What do you think about it, Tone? You Raptors fan? You think they've been getting by with a little bit of luck here so far this year?
I have breaking news for everyone listening, and that is that Toronto is not going to win a second straight championship.
Oh.
I know.
Tell me that before I played the
future.
I told us that before the season started.
The other breaking news is that you shouldn't be too sad. This is still a good team, and I've kind of kept an arm's length, guys, until they get healthy. Unless they are, and I really thought I would get 3 or 4 points if I had Toronto tonight. Really, a Philadelphia team is healthy, and a Philadelphia team that I think is a little more focused, a little older, a little more mature, right. And as long as they, can put a chastity belt and a muzzle on Embiid, I think they're going to be okay.
Yep. And listen, they've been okay thus far. Listen, they got some bad memories last couple of times that they were in Toronto there, but that's all right. It's going to be a hell of a game. I'm excited to be able to get that. That's one of the games I'm definitely looking forward to here tonight. As is another game, interesting enough, off the beaten path here, guys. How about the Utah Jazz and the Milwaukee Bucks getting ready to do a little battle tonight, huh? Utah seems like they've been playing every other day. Maybe I'm crazy here. It seems like they've been playing a lot. Milwaukee at home. And boy, oh boy, can Utah play some defense? I don't know. The number seems to be coming down. Opened up at 224.5, down to 223, 222.5, 6.5 for the Bucks. But they are getting some. They are getting some money coming their way there, Bri. What do you think? Milwaukee Bucks, Utah Jazz tonight.
Yeah, this should be a really nice game. Line's gone up about a point, 6.5 to 7.5 here. The Jazz last time out gave up 120 points to New Orleans in a victory. But still, that was the most points that they've allowed so far this season. The Jazz defense has been very good in a season in which we're not seeing a whole lot of defense out there. So and we play good defense on a consistent basis. You're going to have success in a league that's got a lot of offense because some of these guys are used to having wide open shots every time they go out there. And when they play a good defensive team, it kind of throws them off a little bit. Milwaukee coming off a real nice defensive game against Detroit last time out, but that's mostly Detroit. Detroit has to win from that standpoint. They don't have the ability to put a lot of points on the board, but the 2 games before that, Milwaukee gives up 129 to a Portland team that has been having offensive problems, and 127 to an Atlanta team who's basically a one-man team in there. So the Bucks really, they're winning, they're dominant, they're at least in my opinion, by far the best team in the East. And they may have something to do with that Staples Center thought that Tony had earlier. Yeah. But that's a lot of points to play a good Utah team here that plays good defense. I'm leaning Utah in this contest.
All right, well, Rudy Gobert listed as questionable here tonight. Bit of an ankle problem. Chris Middleton's been hurt with the thigh injury. What do you think of this game here, Tony, tonight? Milwaukee and hosting Utah.
I don't know if you agree, either one of you. The odds makers must believe that Rudy's going to play tonight, or I think this number should be even more. Without Rudy, without a Middleton, I give Utah very little chance. I think Milwaukee's a better defensive team than they play, and I say that only because they can score. They into the middle of November, I don't know what it is now, but they were average about 220 or 120 a game, and Utah's about 105, and I understand Utah plays a different pace. They play a different style. They're more defensive, but I trust this Milwaukee team even with the losses they had in the offseason. And I agree with Brian. I think they're the best team in the West, or one of the best teams in the East. And to be completely honest with you, without Rudy, there's no way in the world that I can use your money and back Utah, not in this situation.
Yeah, it makes total sense there, guys. What does make sense if you head over to WagerTalk.com, both Tony and Brian, they got their NBA plays up. They are available. They are $9. All you got to do is get to WagerTalk.com. That's WagerTalk.com. Both have plays ready to go here today in the NBA. WagerTalk.com is where you got to head. And, Brian, I'll ask one more game here of you, since I know you are people don't realize this, but his entire room is wallpapered with Cleveland Cavalier paper because he is such a Cleveland Cavalier fan. You have no idea. He'll never forgive LeBron for leaving. But the Cavs are home tonight, taking on a team that just played against the New York Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to venture to say Kyrie's still out. What a shocker. But listen, Cleveland's been battling some injuries of their own. They did open up as a pick'em, but it looks like they're getting some money. Is that you, Bri? Are you the one betting the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight?
No, actually, I like the other side here. I like the 1.5 now with Brooklyn. And this has had two different groups hitting this game already so far. We've only been up for about 3 hours, and you're seeing this game bounce back and forth all day long. Cleveland's a team that when they're fully healthy, they can compete if they play good defense. Right. Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love are such big leaders on this team, and Kevin Love's turned into a pretty good defensive player. That was a weakness when he was younger. But Tristan Thompson, you talked earlier about a guy coming off the bench and having success. Tristan Thompson's a guy, he starts for the Cavaliers, but he's such a leader physically on that team where if he's protecting the paint, Cleveland plays really good defense. And that's something that Cleveland doesn't have a lot of. You go deeper on their bench, they got guys that are good players, but they don't have a lot of paint, guys in the paint, especially when you've got a couple of guards, first and second year guards that are weak defensively. You need to have that at the paint. And Cleveland really just had not played well. They come out last game and beat Portland, who I think right now is a team you got to look to fade if they're going to be playing, the newcomer for any type of minutes at all. You know how desperate they are. But the Nets are a team I've been pretty impressed with the Nets so far this year. You talked about Kyrie being out. They've had a lot of guys being in and out for injuries, and they continue to impress to me, winning the last 3 games against Charlotte, Sacramento, and the Knicks. I normally like to play Cleveland in certain situations against a team that's maybe not interested. I think Brooklyn comes into this game interested. And they did play last night. They played at Madison Square Garden, so they're not really leaving the city. So even though it's a back-to-back, only one flight being taken, I believe.
Yeah, it's interesting too, Tony. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie obviously stepping up here with Kyrie out. It's exactly what we thought we would see this year. Before we knew Kyrie was there, we kind of thought he would be that next step, that next generation here at Brooklyn. But he's had a chance to shine here. He's doing a pretty good job of it. But, Kenny Atkinson and the company here, it's a lot of games here, man. I mean, you're worried about a back-to-back. We talk about these types of situations all the time.
Yeah. Well, listen, if I'm playing this game, and I'll just lay it out there, I'm not on this game, not on the side, not on the total, but I considered playing to the over in this game. Two teams both these teams are tired right now. It's 3 games in 4 days for Cleveland, I believe, and both back-to-backs. And if you look at this group, both starting units and their benches in games and back-to-back, defensively, they're bottom 5. To both of them are bottom dwellers in defensive efficiency and have capable scorers on both sides. I would lean to the high side, the north side of the odd maker number.
All right, there you go. Going north if you can. And now, of course, it is time, guys, where we find an entire envelope filled with cash here. But you got to run to the window because you don't want anybody seeing you. And Bryan Leonard, we already know you're just walking by it. You'll circle around it a couple of times. You're not going to really pick it up because you think you're trapped. But if you did happen to pick it up, and of the games that are on the board here tonight, is there one that you'd slap that money down on?
Yeah, there's a game I'm having an interest in. I haven't put it up for clients or anything, but I just talked about the Portland Trail Blazers, a team I'm looking to fade. This is the end of their road trip. It's been a 6-game road trip. They play at home on Wednesday against Oklahoma City. So they had last day off. It is the third game, no, I guess it's not. But it is the last game of the 7-game road trip. Then you have Chicago playing at home. They're just about to go out on a 3-game road trip. The schedule sets up nicely here for the Bulls. The Bulls are a team that I think they're very inconsistent, but when they come to play, they've got a lot of talent. And I'm looking to fade Portland this time, and plus, with the game schedule there, you only need the Bulls to win straight up to get the victory here. I kind of like the Bulls. I'll take that money and put it on the Bulls.
There we go, Bulls. All right, Finn, what would you do with that G that you found there on the ground? You got 10 $100 bills. Where are you putting them tonight?
Better not say that.
Yeah, you know what? I was going through my head too, and it's like, what's her name? Cinnamon? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I want to disappoint. I'm going to disappoint all listeners. They may be looking for something different, but I agree with Brian. Listen, the addition of Carmelo Anthony smelled desperate. When you ask a player to come back like Carmelo has and reinvent himself, this isn't a Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard can still be himself, what he was in the NBA when he was at his prime. He's not going to be as good, obviously, but he can still do the same things. Carmelo was a scorer. And his skill set's diminished to the degree. This may be the worst bench. Those off-season losses, the Curry and likes for Portland were devastating for them. And this bench is so weak. I really thought Portland's Portland, right? Chicago's young, inexperienced, no names. I really thought Chicago would be getting points. The line here really tells it's a tell to this game, and I agree with Brian. I think you take Chicago right here. I do.
There it is. Couple of Chicago guys fading Portland here tonight. But what you want to do, guys, of course, is head over to WagerTalk.com. Their plays are available tonight. And, Brian, you said you got your NBA play up there. What else you got going on there tonight at the site? Anything?
Yes, it's $9 Monday, so we put up all of our plays for $9 today. I did put up I almost used it as a 5-star or some 5% play. I haven't had many of those. But I put up a college football play for Friday.
Great.
It's going to go back to $25 starting Tuesday. So if you want that play, and it's a really good. I happen to love that play, but it's a really good play. And you can get it for only $9 today if you go over to the site. And then out of the games that we discussed, one of those is my play for today on the site. You can either play every game that we discussed, or you can just grab my top play. That's on the site. It's only $9.
Exactly. Yep. Makes no sense, guys. And again, don't forget 3-7. 30-day all-access passes. You never got to worry about when the plays go up there. You get them as soon as they get posted. So that's always the convenient way to go. Never miss a play from either of these guys. And, Tony, your plays in the NBA, you got them loaded up, ready to rock and roll for tonight, $9?
I got a single play in the NBA, single play in college. Both are loaded. Both are $9. Both are ready to win.
I don't know what the hell is. Listen, they just found it. They don't get any better. They both found a grand. They're both rolling at the window and going with Chicago. They're fading Portland. I don't know what the hell else you guys need. It's right there. WagerTalk.com. $9 Monday, guys. It is there for you. $9 Monday. And, of course, don't forget, hit the subscribe button here in the upper right-hand corner. YouTube. Hit that little bell. Never miss a show. The NBA Tip-Off Show. It is powered by WagerTalk.com. But we will every Monday through Friday, except for Thursday this week. I think we'll actually be woofing down a little bit of turkey, but we'll be back at it on Friday every day. But Thursday, we'll have you all set up here each and every day with the NBA slate of games. So, Brian, appreciate the time. Good luck to you. Don't forget, Brian's plays up at Wager Talk. Tony, always a pleasure, brother. I'm not even going to try to say it. Just right there, at Finn at Wager Talk. That's where you got to go. Make sure you're tailing him on Twitter. Same thing with Brian at B. Leonard Sports. Guys, good luck with your plays, man. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you again this week.
Ciao, guys. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank you so much.